Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video, and a move is back on the cards for someone who we were linked with heavily last year to come in at striker, the Sevilla man, En-Nesyri. Yeah, the rumours come back around. It looks like we've held initial talks with him. No bid is official as of recording, which is Tuesday evening, so by the time you're seeing this, that may have developed, but an interesting one. And it looks like we're trying to clean up the mess. Ignore the mess in my background. We're trying to clear up our own mess inside the club by recruiting well. And yeah, we just introduced our third signing of the summer, Mavropanos. So could En-Nesyri be the fourth? And this video is all about breaking down what he could potentially bring to West Ham and why I think it would be. It's a gamble, but it's a gamble that could absolutely pay off for David Moyes in that position. And I'm going to explain why in this video. So hang around and we're going to break it down. To start with, let's kind of look at En-Nesyri's stats and yeah, just general profile before we go into the deeper statistics. But you can kind of see here on the screen, he's 6'2", only 26 years of age. And yeah, he's currently playing for Sevilla. So it would be a really interesting move. I don't know how many people saw the Super Cup between Manchester City and Sevilla, but it definitely showed glimpses of what type of striker he could be and why it would be a gamble. Um, so yeah, let's kind of get into the statistics of why it would be a gamble and what he does well and what he maybe needs to improve on if he was to come to West Ham. But yeah, before we get into that, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the content as well, as it massively helps us out. And without further ado, let's look at the kind of attacking statistics first and foremost, because that's the most important that everyone's kind of interested in. If he's going to play centre forward for us, and you can kind of see here on the screen, this is comparing his stats with other strikers in the top 5 leagues, within the last year, and you can kind of see the percentile he falls in. So non-penalty goals, he's pretty high up, averages 0.49 per 90. Non-penalty XG, again, 0.42 per 90. So he wasn't getting in many chances in terms of his goal contributions, but he did score a few goals. And, he takes an average of, 3.19 shots per 90, which is pretty high up for a striker. And we're going to need him to be clinical, which is where my main thing comes from, where I think it could be a gamble, because he hasn't been hitting goal scoring form in the past couple of seasons on a consistent basis. And from what I've seen of him, from doing the analysis, he will miss chances. He's very good at finding the opportunities to get into those good positions. And, his movement's very, very top class. But when it comes to actually finishing them, that's where sometimes he can let himself down. And he's not as clinical as maybe you would need someone to be. But then again, Antonio's been our striker for the last few years, and you wouldn't exactly label him as clinical. But yeah, I think just from those statistics alone, he is more of a goal scorer rather than someone that's going to create stuff. I think that's where Antonio sort of beats him in that department, if you will, in terms of what he does for the team, because he links play very well. And we saw only a couple seasons ago he got 10 goals and 10 assists for us when he was playing striker. So he had that creativity as well, which Nesyri doesn't really do. He's kind of there to put the ball in the back of the net. Some people might like that in a striker. Some people might say that's all he's going to need to do, playing in that centre forward role. But I think we know in a David Moyes team, it's more than that, and you're going to have to work very hard off the ball. And when we do get it, you're going to have to also be creative, because you're going to be playing as a lone striker. I think that's the key thing here. So yeah, I think from those statistics, you can kind of see that, he will score goals for us. Absolutely, he'll score goals because he'll get himself in the right positions, and we have enough players of quality to feed him. Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, they're players that can feed strikers through and put in good crosses or put in good, key passes into dangerous positions. So for me, that's where it becomes a gamble, because it depends how we play. It depends how we set up. And he's pretty quick. He has pretty fast acceleration off the block for such a tall person. So he would definitely thrive if we were trying to counter attack as well, and we're trying to play those balls over the top. But it's just whether he's got enough contribution on the ball, which is my biggest question mark about him. And the other one being, is he going to be clinical enough in those moments, because he can be wasteful in moments in front of goal. But let's take a look at the next statistical breakdown, which is kind of what I was touching on there in terms of passes. The lowest percentile in terms of comparison with strikers for passes attempted. his pass completion isn't great at 65%. Progressive passes, very low. Progressive carries with the ball, again, a very low percentile. Touches in the attacking penalty box is pretty high. So this should instantly tell you what type of striker he is. He's a penalty box striker who thrives and comes alive in the box in moments. And in a David Moyes team, we play in moments a lot. So maybe some people would argue that's what we need and he would be a perfect fit for us. But I think his contribution in build up has to be better if he's going to come in and play for us. I think those passing statistics show that he just doesn't get involved in the play much. Now that could be system based, being a Sevilla team that like to play their way through and then get into the box where En-Nesyri is kind of situated. In a David Moyes team, he's going to be playing a little bit deeper, and we're going to have less possession, and he's probably going to have to hold the ball up more and interlink play a lot more than he would do at Sevilla. But even so, he's not the best at it. It's something he would need to work on. But what he does have is the attributes to kind of mold into that striker 100%. He's got the pace to do it. He's got the technical ability to do it. It's just whether or not he will actually do it, and whether or not he's utilized as just kind of a penalty box striker, and coming alive in those moments that David Moyes likes to play in with his teams. So yeah, those are the kind of main two statistics. And then obviously he's got the defensive stats, and kind of aerials one. You can kind of see here that he is actually pretty good defensively, in a pretty high percentile for tackles and interceptions. So, he's got that defensive work rate side. Clearances, again, a pretty decent percentile, 58. And, aerial duels one there. He wins an average of 3 a game, pretty high up percentile. And you would expect that from someone that tall. And, he's got a massive leap on him. And that is one thing that we could utilize. There's already been memes about the the Ward-Prowse En-Nesyri potential link up with his crossing into the box from corners and free kicks. And absolutely, it would be a useful weapon for us. Make no mistake about that. He is awesome in the air, and it can also be useful defensively, which it shows there that he's not just going to win balls that played up to him up top, but he can come back and help defend those set piece situations, which by and large, we've been pretty good at as a team, especially last season. Our set piece conceding goals tally was pretty low in comparison to other Premier League teams. So they're kind of the fundamentals of what En-Nesyri would bring to West Ham. It's why I think it's a gamble. I think it's a 50-50 signing. I wouldn't want to pay much more than 20 to 25 million if we're going to make it happen, but he's at a good age, with potential to continue developing, and his peak years are still ahead of him, which makes it an interesting signing. Whether Moyes would take the gamble, I'm not sure. It looks like, with initial talks being held, that maybe he is. And it's definitely a player he likes, because we were linked with him last summer transfer window, and it's a name that's stuck around for sure. So then it kind of boils down to, okay, is he going to play as a solo striker? Yes, absolutely he will. Is he going to have to support when we don't have the ball? That's questionable. Depends on the team and how we kind of set up. But, his overall link-up play in the kind of middle thirds of the pitch needs work. And yeah, it's where the best we'll see of him is in the penalty box when he comes alive, and his movement is very, very good. That is one strong advantage of having him. We've often lacked strikers with good movement. I think of Chicharito instantly in my head in recent years, of someone that was naturally very gifted at that and came alive in penalty boxes for us. And other than that, it's not really, we've not really had that. Antonio's had it in spells, but it's often been frustrating. Someone like Arnautovic grew into the role, but again, wasn't the best in terms of his movement inside the box. But both of those two names I mentioned had much more outside of the box, which is where I think this is a gamble move. And it's just whether we're willing to kind of keep Antonio and En-Nesyri and have Danny Ings, Mubama as our backup, or is Antonio being sold and that's kind of facilitating this move for En-Nesyri? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm sure you all have different opinions on En-Nesyri and whether he would be a good fit at West Ham. So I'd like to hear them in the comments. But yeah, it's an interesting one to keep an eye on over the next few days. I hope this tactical breakdown was useful. If it was, subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it does massively help out us at Babbling. And yeah, we really appreciate the support on the videos. So En-Nesyri to West Ham. Could it happen? Could it not? We'll keep tuned in the next few days, and hopefully we'll have more updates for you in the future. And yeah, that's going to be all for today. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, come on, you irons.